Hey guys, welcome to my channel. I am T. I am growing in New Orleans Zone 9B if you're new here. And on today's video, I will be planting inside this beautiful raised bed Workpro gifted me, and they want me to test this raised bed. I will be planting some herbs inside of this raised bed. The reason why I'm right here by my back door is because my kitchen's right here by my back door, and it will be easier for me to just harvest my herbs that I need that day for dinner, or harvest me some lettuce out of this bed. I don't have to walk all the way to the garden. So guys, join me while I fill up this raised bed. So I will be putting grass clippings and food scraps at the bottom of this bed so it can feed my soil. I got 2 buckets of leaves I am going to put at the bottom to save on soil, but over time your soil will sink down. The leaves break down, so you will have to add more soil over time. I want to show y'all in the middle of this raised bed. They do have drainage holes. This is the drainage holes they have at the bottom, and I will be showing you guys how I put this raised beds together on the end of this video, so stay tuned guys. So now I'm gonna go ahead and add the leaves to the bottom. Like I said, over time these leaves will break down into soil and it will feed your soil. This is some regular potting soil I got from Lowe's. There was 5 for $10. So check with your local Lowe's and see if they got that sale going on. That was a good deal. Now I got that top layer of soil. I'm gonna go ahead and add my kitchen scraps to feed that soil more. Now I'm going to add more soil. This time I will be adding the potting mix. If you're not using the leaves at the bottom, you will probably need, like, you know what, I'll say 2.5. Alright, that's a full bag at the bottom. Miracle Grow already have perlite for drainage, but I want to go ahead and add some more. Go ahead and add some worm casting. I don't measure, I just eyeball and just put whatever I think is enough. So I'm gonna just sprinkle that worm casting, a light layer on top, and just mix that in. And garden tone. Since we're planting tomatoes in this bed, and we're planting lettuce in this bed, and carrots in this bed, we're going to use some garden tone just to feed your plants too. So I'm gonna spray that around. It's gonna be all about spacing in this bed. You don't want to overcrowd it because it's a narrow bed. I am going to plant carrots because we have a lot of room going down this bed. So carrots is good to grow going down. And by the time my carrots get big enough to grow down, all those leaves and the food scraps it's gonna already break down by the time my carrots get down there. So that's gonna feed my carrots even more. But you can plant potatoes in this bed because it's deeper, and I'll put it on the screen so you can know what you can plant inside of this bed as well, so you can take advantage of the bottom and the middle part of this bed. We got the perlite, we got the garden tone, we got the worm casting, we got the potting soil, we got the food scraps inside of this bed. Now let's start planting. First I want to start with my tomato plant. by me looking at this bed, I can only put one tomato plant in this bed because the bed is so narrow, and tomato plants, they normally like to grow in bigger spaces. This is a dwarf tomato plant. It's called a dwarf tomato plant. It won't grow as big as the rest of the tomato plants I have inside of my garden. So you will only need just a little space for this tomato. And look, we already have tomatoes growing in. So this is going to be like little cherry tomatoes. So if you're going to plant a tomato inside of this bed, make sure it's called dwarf tomato, which is going to be shorter, but it's going to produce a lot of fruit for you. It's just going to be a shorter plant. Since this tomato plant is going to be bigger and it's going to grow up, I am going to plant this tomato plant in a corner by itself. I also got lettuce. My lettuce is going to go, so I'm going to go ahead and separate these lettuces and put it in the front of this bed, because your lettuce is going to get bushy. But over time, you want to cut your lettuce before it get too overcrowded in your bed. The thing I'm going to plant is cilantro. Cilantro could get wild, but once you tame it and keep harvesting off it, you just got to pay attention before it get overwhelming in your bed. So you just got to keep harvesting before that happens. I got basil. Yes, basil, you can harvest anytime you want off the basil plant. You just got to harvest and make sure it don't get too overwhelming for your bed. Do carrots. I'm going to drop some carrot seeds inside of this bed. What I'm going to do is I am going to do a row of carrots. So I am going to take advantage of the bottom of the bed. My carrots is going to grow under the soil. I wanted to see if I can do like some little small potatoes, but I don't have that variety. You can plant the small potatoes if you want inside of this bed, because it will definitely have enough room down at the bottom. So take advantage of the bottom. Go ahead and take this tomato plant out the container. Nice roots. Look at that, nice and moist. So we're gonna plant her right here in this corner to harvest off this tomato plant, because we already see fruit on this plant. So I'm giving it extra spacing around, so that way when I put my tomato cage on, it won't be a hassle. Now that we got the tomato plant in, I'm going to go ahead and do the basil. The basil plant is a good companion plant for the tomatoes. It will give the tomatoes a nice flavor. So it's good to plant basil next to tomatoes. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to plant my basils next to the tomatoes. And while I'm doing that, I'm also going to tell y'all what not to plant inside of this bed and why. Right next to it, just giving it extra spacing. All right, so what you don't want to plant inside of this bed, you don't want to plant squash inside of this bed. Butternut squash or any kind of squash. You know why? Because it's going to take, squash take over. The squash is definitely going to take over. You're going to need way more space than this bed. All right. Cucumbers. You don't want to plant cucumbers inside of this bed, because you're going to want to, you have to have extra room for a trellis, and you don't want to take up all that room. So cucumbers is kind of a bad idea to plant inside of this. You want all the room you can in of this bed. Kind of let that grow by itself. This is called a sandy oak leaf lettuce. And I'm going to plant the lettuce going all the way across the top. And another thing you don't want to plant inside of this raised bed is watermelon. Anything that crawls, you don't want to plant inside of this raised bed, because you want to give that plant extra room to grow. And this bed is not big enough for it. The carrots. I'm gonna put some in my hand. Going across the back row. And I'm just barely sprinkling it all the way across the back row. Put it down and take some soil and sprinkle the top. So that back row is going to be my carrots. I'm always finding myself wanting green onions. So I'm going to go ahead and plant me some green onions in here too. So that way I won't have to walk all the way into the garden to snip me some green onions. All right. So that's the green onion plant. Green onions you can just chop and go, and it's going to grow back for you. Once you chop it, it's going to grow back. Okay, y'all, so another thing I want to go ahead and grow inside of this bed, I want to do like a salad bowl lettuce. Just going to scoop it from the bottom. There's the roots. I'm going to plant it in the middle here. Just like I said, the salad bowl lettuce can get big just like these here, but let me remind y'all, we're going to be cutting them off as we go, so we're not letting them get too overcrowded. Since I took my lettuce out of this container, I'm gonna go ahead and plant my mint inside of this container. It's a nice size container. Mint can grow in. Lettuce. Put that in there. Oh. Basil over here by the tomatoes. We have our cilantro over here. And little bang tomatoes. Let me know if y'all tried these little bang tomatoes before. And let me know how big they get. And the sandy lettuce. If y'all ever tried the sandy lettuce before, let me know in the comments. And let me know if you had a bed like this, what would you grow inside of this bed? Let me know. As if you have a bed like this or similar to this, what you can plant, because it's all about spacing. And once you get the spacing down pat, this bed is really good. You just have to harvest more out of this bed, so that way it won't get overcrowded on you, because plants, it grows really, really fast. Before you know it, this bed is going to be full, because I have my carrots in the back. I have my cilantro over here in the corner. I have my lettuce in the front. I have my basil on the side, along with my little bang tomatoes. And I'm gonna go ahead and put my little trellis, not the trellis, but I'm gonna put my tomato cage. I don't know how big the tomato cage is going to get. I mean, the tomato plant is going to get. But I have 3 layers of this, and I'll just keep adding once it gets bigger. But for right now, I'm just gonna add one layer. This empty spot back here, this whole empty space is gonna be my carrots and green onions on the side. Green onions. And I also planted my lemon balm inside of this container here. So y'all, that's it. Let me know if you had a bed this size. Let me know what would you plant inside of this bed. And if you already have this bed, let me know what you have inside of this bed in the comments, so my beginner gardeners can see what ideas they can have to plant inside of this bed. And first you're gonna have to take the plastic off. One down, 3 more to go. All right, y'all, it's getting ready to rain on me, so this is the next part here. So you're gonna take I'm getting up close so I won't be so far away putting everything together. So you take the leg here on this opposite side right here. You're gonna take the back part and start screwing. I'm gonna show y'all. And start screwing this piece to the leg part like this. See that? And then you go all the way down. So I'm about to do it right now. I already did one side, and this is what it should look like. This is the half of the side. See, like that? That's why the legs have 2 sides with the holes. Now that I got the legs on, it's time to put the little shelf on that goes on the side. Okay, last but not least, it's time for the wheels. You're gonna need this little screw here, well, this little rolling thing, your nut, and the other little plastic thing. Gonna slide this dispenser on just like that, and then the wheel. And we're gonna screw there we go, it's spinning. I want to thank you guys so much for watching and hanging out with me. I'll see y'all in the next video.
You're going to need an extra person to hold some parts together, but came out really nice.